Recording on this computer. Welcome to the Sleevy G Show. I'm your host with host with the most. My name is Gomez. As you can see, this is all live, and naturally, I messed up. But I am welcoming my special guest tonight, Reena Friedman Watts, better known as her podcast, Better Call Daddy Podcast. Now we'll ask what's up with that there because it's kind of you never know what that means, but we'll get into it, guys. Welcome, 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 Reena. How are you tonight?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here. I listen to your show and love
Appreciate
your
it.
vibe and just appreciate everything you do on social for all of the podcasting community.
I appreciate that. That means a lot to me because, as a small indie podcaster, you know what I mean? It's hard. I've been at this for what, 2 years and a month now, you know, on my own. I did come from a successful show prior to this. I used to be on a show called Playlist Wars, with my best friend for, I think we did that show for a year and a half, 2 years almost, I think. And it happened during COVID. I tore my knee up. I'm like, I'm bored. I need something to do. And I mean, I was building Legos quick in a day and doing like two adult coloring books a day almost. I went through Netflix, Hulu, every kind of series there was. I was getting bored out of my mind for almost 3 months without going to work during COVID. So we made a plan of doing that, and then life happens. We're both married with kids. He has older kids. I had younger kids, so our scheduling was getting harder and harder. We knew one day it was going to happen, and we called it a hiatus, which was supposedly temporary, but ended up being kind of permanent. He has his own show. I have my own show, and I'm doing what I love to do: bullshit, talk, and enjoy everyone's company. Like it's the best way I could say. It's like at a bar with two people you haven't seen in a long time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's funny. My dad has actually picked up a guest for our show at a bar.
Nice. You can't go wrong with that. That
I'm
is
like,
so
that sounds like a
awesome.
good joke, Dad.
Yeah.
Like guests come from everywhere.
I've luckily have had a few New Jersey celebrities. I've had Leonard Marshall, New York Giants Super Bowl champion. I've had Lance Pitlick, who is a NHLer who played for the NHL and coaches. And I mean, I had Drowning Pool for my 100th episode. That was huge. There's so much that like you don't realize after when I said I was taking this break, I realized I'm like, dude, you did almost 100 and something episodes. And you just sometimes don't realize like who the guests were on. And then you're looking at your list, you're like, holy shit, that's a lot of people. You don't realize it.
Yeah, I love too when you interview, musicians or sports stars. I can hear your excitement about connecting with those people. Like I
Oh
can
yeah.
tell you have a real passion for those subject matters. It definitely comes through. That is what got me to reach out even.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like even raising awareness because, I really took serious, even the serious side of me came out. A good friend of mine, her son is autistic. I went to high school with her. So to real hear that her son's autistic, so we did something for Autism Month. A friend of mine that went to high school with too, she has type 1 diabetes. We supported her bike run for her type 1 diabetes bike run. We did that. A friend of mine, another friend of mine that I actually coached him in his high school years as a football coach. He was my player. We had him come in the show. He has twins with CP. He's a Marine. He's a cop in Texas, a sheriff in Texas. So, he has a lot going on. Um, I want to raise too awareness of things like people just don't realize. And that was something that drawn me a little bit more to do. And when I was able to do it, I took it, there was more of a serious side to me that a lot of people don't realize. Like, I'm the guy who likes the bullshit. I love the guys who talk, but that was the whole thing with the musicians, the local celebrities because I picked their brains after the show. Like my favorite, first one was Christina Bear. I was following her. She was on New Jersey News 12. She was on Channel 11 WPIX in New York, and I followed her. So when I found her on Instagram, like just started going, "Hey, good job." She started like actually answering back. I said, "There's no way." And we just started talking, and we actually ended up having a friendship. And I said, hey, Christina, I'm building up this new show. It's my first, my first time doing podcast. Would you like? She goes, I would love to. Amazing. I said, fine, episode 4, you're on. And
I love it.
you just don't look back. You just don't realize like the fun and the people you connect with, and Cara DeFalco is another one who was from New Jersey, New Jersey News 12. She has her successful YouTube channel that she was nominated for top YouTube channel of the year. She's done amazing things. She's also a hell of a cook. And I ended up hanging out with her too a couple times. And she reached out to me too the other day. She's like, "Oh, we got to go for a Peruvian food hang." I'm like, "Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do." So it's like kind of really cool, like to get the recognition when you can.
And also how it bleeds into your normal everyday life, like how you can actually connect with these people in real life too. And people have even asked me that. They're like, does your podcast lead to real life, situations? And I'm like, all the time. Next week, I'm going to be a part of a podcasting panel
Mhm.
of this podcaster. His name is Ozil Bastos. He
Mhm.
runs Pod Houston out here.
Okay.
And, we've been in Houston now for about coming up on 3 years. And when I very first moved here, he was one of the first events I attended. And now he's asking
Nice.
me to speak on one of his panels. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so excited. Like,
And that's awesome.
yeah.
I mean, and that's the thing. Like with me, as much as these guys are superstars, celebrities, NFL legends, it doesn't bother. I mean, I think I was first starstruck when I started this journey, but now it's like I don't care who you are. I want people to see who you really are. Who's the person behind the face mask, behind the band? Some of these guys are married with kids and then they talk about it. And that's what I want people to see, that part. I don't care if you snort coke or you smoke weed or you drink beer or whatever. That's everyday life. But I want people to see the true person who they are. That's the whole thing.
Yeah, I was starstruck a couple times in the beginning as well. And I probably still get that way, with people that have really large followings. It does make you want to research the person a little bit more. So you're like, okay, I want to at least have some questions prepared.
See, like that's the thing with me. I don't like I'll have a couple things, but then I just throw it right out the window because it's like it ends up you connecting with these guys long term. And that's something which I've been blessed. I mean, with some of these special guests, they actually reach out to me on my personal cell phone. They got my number. I'm like, they're like, "Oh, I'll take your number down." I'm like, "What?" They're like, "Yeah, yeah, you'll see." And I'm like, and they do call, text, say, "What's up? How's the show going?" It's like I haven't been able to catch up a lot because I'm busy. And I'm like, "Hey, I get it. I'm not gonna, for me, it's an honor. Like for you listen to my show, it's an honor. When people say I listen to the show and I love it, that's a huge honor for me."
I was talking to this other documentary guy. I think his name is David Seth Cohen last week,
Hmm.
and he was saying, reach out to people who you dream of doing what they're doing. Because if you reach out to enough people like that,
Hmm.
chances are somebody will tell you about that role and how they got there.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm still, even though I'm gonna have the 2 months off, but I'm still gonna email to, I mean, I grew up I grew up 70. I was born in 79. I grew up in the 80s. Of course, one of my favorite shows growing up was Knight Rider. So would I give anything to get David Hasselhoff on the show? Would be like totally hilarious. Because I would definitely never bring up the burger incident, but it's like I gotta know what was it like to do a show with a talking car when the car really didn't talk to you until they put the voiceover later. Things like that. So you really want to know what he was thinking, but also what the hell are you thinking doing Baywatch at 55 years old or 60 years old? Like, dude, you were still in great shape. Like, what the hell were you doing? So,
Yeah, that would be fun. I would definitely tune into that. I was born the same year, so
so yeah, so you got it. So I mean, it's just seeing these things, you know what I mean? And like for me, the whole Sleepy G show came about was I was wearing cutoff shirts in Playlist Wars, and then someone goes, "Oh, it's the sleeveless one," and And then someone goes, no, Sleevey G. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's actually a funny name. So, and then I went on Twitter. I'm like, well, what should I call the show? Should I call it the Gomez Files, the G Files, the G Show? And I just put Sleevey G up and it got 100% yes in a week. I think there was like 700 people that voted. Like,
That's
yes.
awesome.
I'm
Yeah,
like,
it's very memorable, and I love that it has a story behind it. It's like
oh,
a
it
whole
does.
brand.
Yeah, it is. That's why, like, my buddy DT in Space Castle, he made the logo for me. So I just reached out. I said, do what you do best. You know who I am. He goes, I got you. Within 48 hours, he sent that logo, and I'm just like, holy shit. I'm impressed. I'm done. Don't need to do anything else, you know?
Yeah, that's really cool. I love that.
So it's one of those things, that I got very lucky. And, I will say that I just was thankful. But, now let's definitely just get into yours because I got to know where did the name of the podcast come from? That's what I want to know. Better call Daddy.
I mean,
Uh,
he's literally always who I call. And it's funny that you mentioned the logo. Like, I had a mompreneur friend that during the pandemic, she got laid off from Red Bull. She was a full-time, like, graphics, creative designer type.
mhm.
And I was like, hey, could you like create something where it's like, I'm calling my dad? She was like, to me, it sounds like he grants all your wishes. I'm going to make him like a genie coming out of a bottle, but instead out of a telephone. And from the moment I saw her design too, I was like, oh my God, yes, this is so freaking perfect. Like
It was
whenever,
actually, but then when you get someone's mind who's out there, you're like, what the hell's that show about? What the hell's this Better Call Dad thing?
totally, I actually have had like people, sometimes you have people on, they have no idea what it
Yeah.
means or what the show is about. And like I had this one executive, he worked for like, Stephen Covey's organization.
Hmm.
And at the end, I was like, hey, is there anything you want to ask my daddy? He was like, yeah, yeah, right. Like, yeah,
No,
no.
no, like my dad's really here. That's the whole
I
point of
was
the
like, no,
show.
he's really gonna give you an answer. Like he was like, nice try. I'm like, no.
And that's the funny thing, like, when you think about it, our shows are identical. You have a ton of episodes. You have a load of episodes.
Yeah, like over 400. It's
Yeah.
crazy. In the beginning, I was on beast mode, kind of like you, like I was super pumped about it. Came from a radio background. I felt like this was something that, I could show people that I could do for other people.
Hmm.
But then once I started getting clients, I was like, okay, I'm going to put my paid work in front of my fun work.
Hmm.
And so I got a couple of big shows that I helped launch and produce, and that went on for a couple years. And then I cut it back to only one a week. And even now, to be perfectly honest, marketing one show a week on Threads, on TikTok, on YouTube, on LinkedIn, it is a full-time job. I mean, it's
I
crazy.
I actually stopped. I canceled the threads because I just felt like I wasn't getting the real people on threads. I felt like I was getting the bots or I was getting those fake people or fake names and stuff like that. So I think I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm done with that. So, but the only thing I do is like Instagram, tw I still call it Twitter, aka
Me
X,
too.
TikTok, and Facebook. And when I look at it, it's kind of funny. Like now I'm kind of curious about my numbers as we're doing this kind of somewhat live. But, up to date, let me see, analytics. Oh, all right, went up now. So 1761. So I have a little over. So if I did 1760, I'm horrible in math, so just bear with me 1 second. So I got a little over 2,200 downloads in 2 years. So for me, it's a huge accomplishment. Like,
Yeah.
the way I look at it, like with Good Pod's rating, like I know it takes like everywhere's ratings. Like I was surprised how many weeks I was like that number one show on a lot of categories, which surprised the hell out of me because I didn't think it was that funny. But I guess when you hear some of the stuff, you're like, holy shit, that is funny. Like I tend not to listen to my own shows.
I listened to them multiple times. I'm like such a perfectionist.
For me, that's the whole thing. That's what I think I love what I do with my show because I think they get to see the true authenticity of who I am and who the person is. Because yes, there's people who love to edit. I am, listen, I'm all about the editing. Listen, it's all good. I get it. I respect that. But I feel like when you edit something out, like me, I messed up in my entrance, but that's me. You're getting me, but you can laugh at it because you're like, damn, he stumbled after how many episodes? You
I
know?
mean, I think people find the bloopers the funniest. I mean, there's this other girl I'm connected to. Her name is Ariel Levitt, and she has a show called The Connector. And
Mhm.
she started airing just like bloopers recently as reels. And honestly, I think the bloopers did better than her ones where she was practiced.
I just like for me, I just don't care. I just love both the conversation. I love all my guests that come on here because that's the fun part. I actually had one guest reversed it on my own show, like started asking me the questions. I'm like, what the hell? Hold on. I'm the host, not you. But it was great.
I love a back and forth. Yeah. Oh, I want to know your daddy story. You're a dad?
Oh, my dad, me being a dad. I'm a father of two children, one 8-year-old girl and a 4-year-old son.
Aw.
Uh, with my dad, unfortunately, I lost him when I was young. I was 21 when he passed away of stomach cancer. So losing my dad was like the hardest thing because I was the only child. So
Oh my gosh. Yeah. You talked about that on an episode
yeah,
and what that kind of led to.
yeah,
I
yeah.
cannot imagine. I am so sorry. At 21?
Yep, 21 during my party days.
Oof.
You have to make a decision. I made a couple of wrong decisions, but I also made some right ones. Drinking was a big part of my life. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't turn into the drugs, which I said that was a good thing, but drinking was a good part of it. Um, you know, jacking cokes, smoking cigarettes. You just don't realize like the damage it did. And meeting my wife is what made me quit a lot of it.
I
And
love that.
it was like either have her or have the other stuff. I chose like I said, I made the right decision. Here I am 12 years later and 10 of them being married and with the two kids. I mean, I know my dad's proud of me. My dad's seen me grow up, which is great, but I miss the days of my dad seeing me getting engaged, the day I got married, the day my daughter was born, and the day my son was born. Like when
Ooh.
her parents and my mom were there, I was crying because her family was completely there, and when it's only my mom and my uncle, and not my dad being there, you know what I mean? The day of my wedding, my dad didn't walk my mom down the aisle. It was my uncle. So it's just those hard, key moments, and people don't realize it. So I'm doing everything in my power to make sure I don't miss those key moments for the kids. I work my ass off at work, Monday through Friday and Saturdays too. Like I'm there during the winter, 7 to 4:30, but you know, we work from 7 to 5. I'm at work by like 6:15 in the morning and get my day going every day. And I come home, cook, we try to spend time with the kids, which sometimes is hard because my daughter has dance until 8 o'clock at night. And she's only 8 years old. Figure that one
That's
out.
cute. Yeah,
But
the activities really are quite an add-on.
oh, you know what? She did, and I will. She did try playing sports, and I'll give her credit. She, she did try to play softball, aka baseball, softball, a little bit. And she goes, Dad, I need to talk to you. I said, okay, what do you need to talk to me about? She goes, Dad, I really don't like the sports. I said, you love dancing. She goes, yes. And I said, okay. So last year she made the competition team. It was her first year. Proud of as hell. This year, she's more involved with the competition team. So now she goes Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Saturday. Saturdays are a long day. So it's like 10:30 in the morning to like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Yeah,
Oh my God, that's
yeah,
really rigorous.
yeah. So like that's why March is kind of going to be a tough month because we have one competition. Then the first week of April, we have another competition. Then like 4 days later, we're gone to the family trip, the big family trip we have planned. So it's like yeah, there's a lot going on. I'm not gonna have time to do this. Am I gonna post up like I'll post up once a week, maybe twice to say, hey everyone, still here, I'm alive, don't worry. Like I'll keep in touch with everybody, but what
I love how you put your family first though. I mean, even today, like I only like lift like one day a week, and I like Sundays is kind of like my day to do it. And my daughter was like, "Hey, I got a birthday gift card from a friend, and hey, I have a little bit left over on another one." And she like wanted me to take her and like wanted to listen to music with me in the car. And I was like, "Let's go right now. We can go to like both places you want to go to, and I can still get in the gym, you know." But I
yeah,
also like wanted to put her first.
yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, I got to spend more time with my son. He's 4 and he's starting to,
Yeah.
and I feel like I just don't want to be like my dad who worked every single day, missing. It wasn't until high school, like, when the days he had off, he was there at practices. And if it was an early Saturday morning game before he went to go to work, then he was able to watch. But like I felt like he missed a lot of the games. But you know what? When I was in high school, he really made the ultimate sacrifice and didn't work the lunch crowd. And he would go in later for the dinner and he stayed for the whole game and then he would leave for work. And I was just like, that made me happy just to see my dad for at least, even if it was a half a game, I was stoked. So,
Aw, yeah, the games are, I try to like take my kids' orders on like the games they want me to come to versus sometimes they don't want you even to come. Like my daughter's, she's played on the basketball team the last 3 years, and I never even thought she would play. She's like a girl's girl. She's happy being on the bench. She just wants to be a part of the
the
team.
team.
And yeah, the last game, she was like, Mom, I'm not even really going to play. She's like, we're playing a hard team. She's like, you don't have to come. And I'm like, are you sure? I mean, this is like the last game, She's like, don't drag the 5-year-old. But sometimes she's like, hey, I might actually get in there this game,
Yeah.
try to come to it and I'll drag the 5-year-old. But, I have 3 kids. I had 3 kids in like 5 years, and then I had a 7-year gap. So I have a young kid.
Hmm.
And that's a whole balance in itself too, because I've got one that, is
We
wanting to
had,
steal my car for the gym, the other one that needs basketball rides, another one that
yeah,
has, play dates, and
I'm
then
not there yet. I mean, we have a 4 year gap between both of them. So as the older one is the girl, which is the scary thing. Like, she's only 8 and she thinks she's 13. And the other day
oh
she goes,
yeah.
when do I get a phone? I said, never. They're
I
not,
held off so long. I
I,
just got data for my two, like my
mm,
second and third kid. And my daughter's going into high school. I held off till ninth grade. And then the other one is going into eighth. But all their friends have them,
I know.
It's
I
like,
don't know how much longer. I know my wife and I kind of touched on it a little bit. Like,
hold off as long as you can.
I probably can't because, to be honest with you, with her dance schedule, like now
Right.
that we're getting into the nitty gritty, I think she's going to need it to say, "Hey, mom, I need you to go get something like emergency," and then she could send me out to go get it, and I come back and I get it.
I
Like,
get it. Cause like my kids, I had so many at different places. And, if they don't have a way to reach me, I didn't feel comfortable
well,
either.
that's the other thing too. But I feel like I know if I have her phone and I could track her everywhere she goes, especially whenever she starts dating. Oh, God. Yes, I'm gonna be that dad.
Oh, trust me. I mean, yeah, my husband is an overprotective
Oh,
dad.
yeah, I'm gonna be more than just an overprotected dad. I'm going on the dates. I told my
Yeah, I
daughter.
love that.
I told my daughter,
I've seen dads like that are like in the background.
yeah,
They're
you'll
like
see,
eyeing the table.
you'll never see me. She doesn't get it. She'll never see me. Like, it was kind of funny. My daughter and my son try to hustle me, and I'm like, you cannot hustle a hustler. Like, what do you mean? It's like I wrote the book. You could hustle somebody else, but not me. Like, oh, I'm like, you could hustle your mom, you want? Hustle your baba, hustle the grandparents, hustle your cousin, hustle them. and hustling dad. If you want something, you earn it. They both look at me like face straight, like, oh my God. Like, I'm sorry. That's the way I grew up. My parents said, you want something, earn it. You know,
Yeah.
I will say though, my kids do work hard. I mean, my son's a pain in the tush at home, but at school, I see him, he is trying. I know my daughter, she rushes a little bit. She gets that from me. I know that for a fact because it's me. But she'll try her best, which I give her a lot of credit. She's done better than I did growing up in school. So, she's not trying to skate by. She's trying to make, because I think I keep inbraining into her head, I want you to make something of yourself. Don't be like dad. Don't be like
Aw.
me. Don't be a hardworking guy that works every weekend, misses things. I keep kind of putting that into her brain a little bit. You could be whoever you want. You want to be a doctor? That's fine. You want to be a teacher? Great. You want to do inside sales? No, you're not. I will refuse that.
You're telling her that's not an option, huh?
That's not an option. One thing, I'm not saying my parents were great, but I'm also not trying to push the grades as much, as my mom did with me. So I think that's why I rebelled more on that than I thought. Because I really gave up in fifth grade. Like, why am I need this crap if I'm not going to do anything in life? You know what I mean? Like, why do I have to learn what 5 plus 5 is? I already know what 5 plus 5 is. When's that going to really help me in life? Not for nothing. Why do I care about Sacagawea going down here to the Louisiana tariff and all that territory? And what am I going to need that in history? When
I can relate and I find myself questioning things too. I
you know,
think that the education system kind of needs a rebrand.
well, I mean, listen, if we're going back in history, let's really talk about what the last 30 or 40 years. Let's take back instead of going back to the 1800s, let's really go to 1970. Let's kick it in 1970 where we had no gas. And there was the 1980 Olympics and how everybody depended on the USA hockey team at that time to bring America together. The Twin Towers. Ronald Reagan he had 3 terms as a president. That was the first one ever. There's, when there was Clinton, there was money. When there was Bush, there was no money. It's like all these things. Like I hate politics. I am not a
Me
politic.
too.
I don't. One thing on this show I don't do is talk politics. But you know, does it come up? I'm like, yep, yep, sure, no problem, and that's all I say.
But I feel like we kind of grew up in a cool time.
We did. If you think about the 80s, the
Yeah.
90s, and possibly a little bit of the early 2000s. After 2005, I feel like you saw the change.
Oh yeah, with the
The
internet.
the internet, the millennials,
Yeah.
you know, me personally, I played sports in the 90s and just like you did. And one thing I remember is when a coach yelled at you, you didn't cry. You took it and you worked harder.
You were
Now,
lucky to get that kind of mentorship.
I mean, look, I looked at my coach. My coach was like the next thing to, a mentor I've ever had. And I still talk to him to this day.
That's cool.
I mean, he gave me a, I'll never forget it. It was I was going into my junior year of high school. And it was my end of my sophomore year. He calls me in his office. He's showing me what the starting offensive line looks. And it has my name on it, but there's a huge question mark. Am I trustable? Am I dependable? Can I get the weight down? Can I listen to what he says? And I busted my butt that summer, and it was kind of funny. And I was just talking to one of my old teammates, which I'm going to this beefsteak alma mater thing at my old high school, which I'm going to see them. He goes, he goes, do you remember when you knew? my senior year, your junior year, when we became not just a team, but family. I said, of course I do. I'll never forget it. He goes, tell me that. He goes, I remember it was like the fourth week or the third week. I was running upstairs inside this hot gym, about 110 degrees, where I'm sweating profusely, dying and for thirst. And he goes, okay, yeah, you do remember that part. But I remember you coming up there with Mickey, Ron, and a couple other of the teammates, and you started jogging behind me, cheering me on, pushing me. Then everyone started coming up. And then by the time, mid-August came around, we were all hanging out as one.
Oh, I love when that happens. You can sense that, you can
Mhm.
feel that, you deliver different.
Yeah, and we became one team, and
Ooh,
we were I don't know what we were destined, but we were destined to be the best. We took on challenges. We heard that, the local teams that we played at, they were better than us. Oh, the line's too big. You guys are slow off the ball.
wow.
It's all about the skinny kids, and we took that. Our offensive line, ranged from 320 pounds to 295 pounds. So, it was 310, 225, 230, 240,
Wow.
210, 295 me. So, I mean, you saw we had a beef line, but one thing we took pride was smash mouth football. We ran that ball. Like, there was videos. I remember one, was it was either the Hasbrook Heights game. We were playing at home, and I remember they kept running the ball on my side. And me and that tight end, we were just beating people with the guard. We were just punishing, working, hitting them,
Whoa.
grinding them, like kept working. And then by the time we were in the end zone, you just see these players like down in a knee, like, oh God, thank God the play's over. Like you could tell they were just grinded out where we were just like, let's keep going. Let's
That's
go.
awesome.
So I mean, that's where we knew like we had a team. We had one loss that season. It's because we lost one important key member of the team, and he
Mm.
broke his ribs. And
Oh man.
I'll tell you, that hurt us all. But we only lost by a few points. But we all talked. We all said it. That loss is all on us. It's not on one person. We didn't lose it
Right.
because of one person got hurt. We lost it because we lost focus. And that's one thing I always said to people. And I kind of grained it into my daughter. I'm like, look, if your teacher's yelling at you, it's not that she's doing it because she's pissed at you. She's doing it because she's trying to get the best out of you. Okay? She sees something that she knows you could she's gonna push you to the limit and grind you to see if you can handle the pressure. You have
That's a
to
good
take
piece of advice for
you have to
sure.
you have to take it one day at a time. Oh, I was a coach too. I coached high school
That's
football.
right. That's right.
So I mean, I remember, one of the kids told the parents I was yelling so much, like, and, I made him do these ridiculous duck walks, as I call them. So the line pissed me off one day. We're on one side of the football field. And I said, guys, you're not listening to me. You're thinking you know it all. You don't. You're just freshmen. You're learning. You don't want to listen to me? This is what we're going to do. To the fence and back duck walks. And you're whacking it all the way through. I
Oh my
did.
gosh.
My head football coach, varsity coach, comes over to me, goes, aren't you be too hard? I go, wouldn't you be doing the same thing to me? He goes, I'll leave you alone. Like
Whoa.
they came back like, you know, again. I'm like, again, don't ask the question. If they didn't ask, I was going to just say, all right, grab water, let's go. But because one kid smart ass said it again, I'm like, yep, do it again. Third time, do it again. Then by the fourth time, actually the fifth time, their kids were like, dude, shut up. Like one of the guys just said, shut up. Keep your mouth shut. I'm like, what's the lesson? Don't mess with a coach. I said, that's one. Two, listen. You don't know it all. You're freshman. Just because you're 13 doesn't mean shit. Throw what you think you know out the door. If you're going to cry about it, cry to your parents. Don't cry to me. I'm not your friend. I'm your
Yeah, I have
coach.
to say, I witnessed, my daughter, we moved here 2.5 years ago, and when
Mm,
we moved here, she wanted to make friends, so she joined the basketball team. And like I said, she's pretty much a bench player. I think she made
yeah.
one shot like this season, but it was great. The whole team went crazy. But they all started off really as a sixth grade team. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? They all started around the same time, and seeing them come together and
Yeah.
go undefeated this season has
It's
been so incredible to
it's an
witness.
unbelievable feeling.
Wow, it's the first time they've done that, I think, in like 2 decades. But again, they just really came together as a
Hmm.
team. And like you're saying, learned how to listen. They got a new coach.
Yeah.
It was
It's
phenomenal.
one thing I just took whatever the coaches did to me and I just kind of took it and I just inbred it in their heads. One thing
Wow.
I've learned was, God first, school is second, family's third, friends are fourth, football's last. Football is your
Wow.
escape. I go, guys, you gotta believe in Jesus. Because I went to a Catholic school, so I was Catholic too. So I get, guys, you gotta, if you're in church, you believe in him, you're in a Catholic school like this, you gotta believe in everything, okay? Two, schoolwork. One thing I'm gonna tell you, I messed my life up because of schoolwork. Schoolwork as a freshman starts now, guys. You want to get that education, you want that free education. If you can't make it in football, you got to do it now, guys. As freshmen, they're not just looking at your junior and senior, they're looking at your freshman and sophomore year to show you what you can accomplish. And I could say almost like 13 or 14 kids had athletic, not just athletic scholarships, but they had not I guess educational scholarships, academic scholarships. There we go.
Academic scholarships, incredible. Wow.
So they busted their tails off at school. I said, "Do you want to play for me? If I see you guys get a, if you guys get a B minus or less, you're off or you're benched."
Wow.
So my coach had a standard of C's, but I think that's where it was my fault, where I should have just stuck on a C, just to skate by, just to play for the team. That was my fault, and he always pushed us to do better, but I didn't listen. And that's why with them, I'm like, B's or better, guys.
That's awesome. I feel like my parents were big on grades. Like if I got good grades, they kind of left me alone. But
Mhm.
I care more about like the full picture. Are
No,
you
yeah.
learning anything? Which teachers are like inspired by their
Mhm.
jobs and their positions and are like actually into teaching? Like I want to know that.
Yeah, same here. Like now, like as a father, as a parent,
Yeah.
now it's like, okay, what are we learning? What are we doing? What did you learn? Like, I like where my son goes to preschool. Like, I see they send pictures, I'll send videos on what he's doing. Like, okay, good. He's doing good at least. Or, a couple of weeks ago, he wasn't feeling good.
Oh,
And, when he's not napping and he's up and he's not sleeping, it's like, oh boy. I'm like, all right, I'll be back. I gotta go get my son. He wasn't feeling good. He had the quick flu, thank God. But, it's just one of those things as a parent now, you're thinking of how it was when you were a kid, but then the society now has changed so dramatically. I mean, like you could throw a helmet at someone and not get in trouble. You throw a quarter at someone's head, you're suspended from school. It's like, well, it was an accident. Well, it wasn't. You did it malicious. It's like, are you kidding me? I mean, you could tap someone and someone says, okay, I'm suing you.
it is wild.
It's
Yeah.
it's ridiculous what I feel like the world is coming to now than it was back in the day. You know, as a Hispanic male, I've taken a lot of crap growing up. Not just being Hispanic, but also being the biggest guy in girth and in height. I was made fun of. I was bullied, and I was a bullier too. I'm not gonna lie. I've taken my shots,
You've
and
taken some licks.
I've taken some licks, but I've given them back. And when I mean back, I got into altercations. I literally cursed up a storm one day in high school, in grammar school. I had a few bucks in my back pocket. I caught the guy who was trying to steal my money out of my back pocket, out of my backpack. I turned around. I just put him in a headlock and I punched the hell out of him and I threw him down the steps.
I bet he didn't mess with you again or try to take your money.
No, but then I got suspended because I'm like, it's bullshit. I was going, this is bullshit. You believe him? He's trying to steal my money. You people suck here. And this is
That's
out of
what
Catholic.
public school was like, though. I mean, if you had a
This was
nice pair of
Catholic school,
sneakers,
but this was Catholic school.
okay. I mean, I saw some crazy. I went to private school and public
Yeah,
school,
I
and it
never went to
happened both
public.
places.
Well, I mean, but that's the thing. That's where,
I grew up seeing that for sure. But
and
I think there's so much more like anti-bullying now.
yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I get it's anti-bullying, but the problem is like, let's talk out our feelings. No, you can't talk out the feelings sometimes. You either got to get to someone's face and actually argue your point through, or a parent, you have to argue with them.
But aren't you scared for your kids? Like it's different when you're the parent.
Am I scared? Yes. I'll bring up a situation that we were just discussing today. And there's another child who is, I wouldn't, not, I don't want to say special needs, but he has trouble adapting. Let's just say that.
Behavioral
Yeah,
issues.
a little bit, but he's gotten better, like
Okay.
tremendously.
Okay.
He's a funny little kid too. I could say that because I've seen him. He makes me laugh every time I see him. And my daughter said there was two new kids picking on him, and he asked, and he goes, "No, no, I don't want you getting hurt. Step away." And I said to my daughter, I go, "This is what I want you to do." And I talked to actually my one of my good friends. His son is in the same class as my daughter. We were just talking about this last night actually too. And he goes, "Oh, is he disrespecting?" I'm like, "No, he's not disrespecting my daughter, but I think he might want to help out this kid." We were just talking about that too, me and him. I'm like, okay, so I say if we have both of them kind of stand up for them. But I said to my daughter, if someone touches you in any way or hits you or punches you or even nudges you the wrong way, you scream at the top of your lungs, you run and get the principal, and you have him call me ASAP. Because I'll be honest with you, I'm going to make sure that parent's going to hear from me. But
Totally.
because I will do it legitly. Your kid put hands on my daughter. What if I put hands on you? Let's see how you like it. Granted, I
Yeah,
probably get
it
arrested.
is so hard. It is so, so hard. I mean, I'm a mom of four, so I
Yeah,
have definitely faced these kinds of
yeah.
situations. When another kid touches your kid, you and that other parent are not going to be friends.
No, listen, my daughter is a little bit taller than people. She's probably one of the taller ones in class as a girl. She gets my genes. So she is going to be a tall little girl. I said, if people start making fun, ignore it. They're just jealous of you because of how beautiful you are.
Oh, I love that. That's cute.
You know, I might not say all the right things either, but I will have my kids back no matter what. You
That
know,
is the biggest thing. Let me tell you, my dad is like that too. I am 45 years old and I call my father every day, no lie.
that's the hard part for me because I don't have that anymore. I don't have that outlet. I don't have that reach like I used to. So I would call my dad after every time I came home from school, even when I was working
Aw.
at 3 o'clock. What's up, pops? What's going on? How's your day? Yeah, how's your day? I had a tough time. He goes, don't worry about it. We'll get better. I'm like, all right, cool,
Aw,
dad.
that's
Thanks.
so nice.
But now I don't have that. So for me, it's bottled up. I talk to my wife. Don't get me wrong. She
Yeah,
goes, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "I don't want to talk about it." She's like, "Well, you need to." I'm like, "Yes, I know, because my therapist says so." And I do see somebody.
that's good.
But at the end of the day, it's not the same advice that you get from your dad.
Nobody's gonna love you like your dad too.
No, no, I mean, don't get me
I'm
wrong.
gonna
My
have a hard time.
my
Trust
father-in-law
me.
is all my father-in-law is great. Don't get me
That's
wrong.
great. That's yeah.
But I can't go just call them up and say, I got a bitch about your daughter, or I got a bitch about your grandkids. You know what I mean?
Right. I can't do that with
I
my
can't do
in-laws
that.
for sure not.
But with my dad, I was able to.
Oh yeah. Oh
Well, this is
yeah.
way, even if, if I was, I would be doing it anyway. But that's the thing what people don't realize. Like, when you lose your parent, you fall into this, I guess the key word is depression, and don't realize how far you have gone down. It's like funny. It was that movie, The Replacement with Keanu Reeves, and they said quicksand. And
Ooh,
they're like, "Oh yeah, quicksand's a scary." No, it's like, no, no, no. You don't understand. It's a metaphor. You know, you're stuck in quicksand, but then one thing goes wrong, then another, then another. Then you realize you're too late. You're already up to your neck deep, and you can't get out.
damn.
You know what I mean? So, granted, it was a funny movie, but that was a serious part because you don't realize, like, when you fall down so deep and you can't get your hands freed, you can't get out of it. So I came close to that at one point, and then luckily someone grabbed my hand and pulled me out of it, and it took a while. I mean, people are like, you got to get over it. I'm like, you just can't. It took me almost 7, 8 years.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah,
That's real.
it is because to this day I miss my dad. But,
Aw.
I don't get upset like I used to during the holidays or the day he was passed away because when he passed away, it was right before Thanksgiving. Then it was my birthday. Then it was Christmas. Then it was
Oh
New
my
Year's.
gosh.
And then it was his birthday.
It's like all those, yeah, those like milestone
Yeah.
dates.
Yeah. And I just sit there and just think about and I laugh and Pops, this one's for you. I just keep saying that, you know what I mean? And then I laugh.
But you get to be a piece of your pops, you know?
Yeah.
I
I
love
mean,
that you found your wife and she
oh
pulled
yeah.
you out of that hard time
Oh yeah.
and your dad to two beautiful kids. I mean, even just you talking about them, I can tell like how much you love that.
Oh
That's
yeah.
so great.
I mean, don't get me wrong, there's days I really want to throw him across the room. I will say that. But will I do it? No, I can't. I'm not as strong as I used to be. But, you know, when they are the loving kids that I know they can be, they're
When they're
amazing.
asleep.
No, no, I'll even get it when they're playing calmly. They're really unbelievable. I'll even say it. Christmas week, my wife and I we got sick with COVID.
Oh my
Three,
gosh.
three out of four of us got sick with COVID.
Oh no.
My daughter didn't get it, thank God, but me, my son, and my wife got it.
Oh,
My wife was upstairs watching the kids. I was in the basement. I couldn't move. I couldn't. I was just like, I didn't even want to play video games. That's how bad it
I
was.
couldn't even look at my phone when I had COVID. I was like
Oh,
so out of it.
I was looking at my phone like, TV, out cold whenever we could be. Then I go upstairs, and I'm like, kiss, okay, good, you're fine. That's where like it took 2 days prior to New Year's Eve, no, a day before New Year's Eve to finally like I was like, okay, I can go outside. What do we need? Let's just get what I need. You know what I mean? Like I started running around because it was like the first day I was like, I could breathe, I could talk, and it's one of those things, like I'll do whatever it takes to keep the family going. I mean, my wife's the rock of the family. She's the backbone. I just do the running around whenever it needs to be. I mean, do we get into fights? Of course we do. That's a perfect marriage, I said. If you don't get into fights and everything is hunky dory, there's something wrong there.
For sure.
I mean, if you don't get into an argument at least once a week or once a month, and you're like, okay, it's like you almost need to schedule one because if you have to schedule something like that, it's like something's definitely wrong, and you just can't have the perfect life like that.
The best though is to really be able to like take a deep breath and communicate.
I'll tell you this, there's times that we get into an argument and we will separate. I will go to the basement, she'll stick upstairs, and about an hour or two later, we'll converse and we actually can both apologize, either whoever fault it is, my fault or her fault. At the end of the day, it's done with. You know what I
That's
mean?
great.
You know,
Also, just, I mean, I can say this in my own relationship. I've been married for 18 years. It's crazy. I cannot believe it. We did date night for 7 years, and it doesn't have to be anything crazy, but like you definitely do need adult time.
yeah, we do. I mean, don't get me wrong, we get it. Well, this past one, I was out with my friends, so she had the house to herself. So I
Hey, that's good too.
yeah, I mean, like our kids go to my in-laws, that's like date night. Like we'll go out to dinner, we'll try to
That's so
catch up,
nice.
or is it we're gonna do, a bunch of returns, run around for her. Like I'll drive and I'll get her everywhere, then we'll go out to eat, you know, or if it's something, that doesn't have to be done and we could do something else, we'll do it. Or it's just so many different things like, we'll try to do. So luckily we do that whenever we can because, now that our kids are getting older, we're actually hanging out with some of her adult or our kids' friends, parents a little bit more. And
That's
that's
our
something,
only friends.
and that's the funny thing. That's what we're trying to make friends of now. Like, I feel like we're only friends with like one family, and then we start hanging out with another family. Like, okay, great. Now I feel like I'm cheating with this family with the other family. I'm like, wait a minute. No, we need to like all get together.
I know, like when one kid will get invited to two people's house, I'm like, you have to like go with the one who asked you first.
Yeah, no, but I mean, like, if we say, hey, barbecue at our house, it's fine. Just come
That's
over,
cool. Yeah.
But it's hard sometimes because everyone's are busy.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone's just trying to make ends meet.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I mean, like, mortgage is coming out tomorrow, I guess is the best way to say, because it's the beginning of the month, and the weekend always, I hate the weekends when it lands. It's like, can't you just land on the freaking day that it's supposed to? I get it. I get aggravated, and, but, bills got to get paid. Things have to get done. But the
I
one
I mean,
thing,
I love watching comedy live, but I also love watching it when the kids go to bed. I mean, we'll watch Kill Tony together. Have you ever watched that?
no, I've not.
Oh
I
my God, I love
so
that.
when it comes to me and my kids, it's sometimes we're watching Hell's Kitchen, or I'm
That's
watching,
fun.
or I'm
Cooking shows,
watching,
yeah.
yeah, or Beat Bobby Flay because my daughter loves it. But I go, sweetie, if you're gonna be a chef, you need to learn how to eat other things, express your palate a little bit more. You can't live on chicken tenders, hamburgers, hot dogs, and French fries. Because now she doesn't like pasta like she used to. I'm like, I said to her, I go, you're gonna get so sick of pasta one day. You're gonna like, no. And then it happened.
Oh no, yeah, that's still a staple item in my house.
My son though, you put a bowl of spaghetti and meatballs in front of him, he'll house that thing like if it's
Oh
his job.
yeah, that's the
So,
best.
but we try to cook other things like my, I'm like the griller, my wife's the inside cooker, but if I have to cook inside too, I'll do it. But like today was a great example. It started to snow and I'm cooking on the grill.
Oh yeah, we did that in Chicago. I'm
I
like, my husband's crazy, but that's
so
the healthiest way to eat, and it's so easy to cook that way.
Yeah, so I don't mind doing it, especially when I don't like it when it's like below zero. That's when I'll not go outside. I'm like, I'll pan fry the damn thing. I'm not going out there.
Yeah.
There is some stops that I won't do it, but I don't mind cooking. Neither is my wife. Like my wife's actually a really good cook. She'll make a breaded pork chop in the
Wow.
oven. Oh my God, so good.
We just
Um,
got an air fryer that we should have gotten a long time
Time
ago.
ago,
It
yep.
really makes things easy to cook.
Yeah, we have an air fryer. We have a convention air toaster all in one. Damn Cuisinarts are so nice and
Wow.
expensive. Yeah, so we have like an all in one type of deal. So that does help us out when we're cooking the other meals. Like we cooked burgers, she'll cook the fries and everything there.
Yeah.
I'll be a couple minutes behind just because I'm cooking, and but we'll get it all done. So like within like 2 or 3 minutes, boom, all right, we're eating. And then there's nights where we are ordering. I mean, we were ordering at one point. Well, during COVID, we were ordering. If it wasn't every night, it was definitely every other night.
Yeah, we've definitely cut back on that.
We're trying to. Tomorrow, Monday nights are hard for us because of my daughter's dance schedule. So she has to eat before she leaves. So like I got to make sure I order the food at 3 o'clock to get it delivered at 4:30 here at the house. So she gets something to eat. So by the time she leaves, she's at least got something in her stomach. Because by the time she gets home at 8 o'clock, she is going to eat something else. But because all the fuel she burned at dance.
Yeah, like my daughter came to the gym with me tonight and then she's like, "Can I grab something from the snack bar?" And then you're like, "Yeah."
Oh, I say no.
Really?
Yeah. I'm like, no, we're going home. She's like, but Dad, I'm like, nope, we're going home. We're going home.
But they have like salads, they have like sandwiches and stuff. So I was like, okay.
Yeah, I guess. It's one of those like maybe I'm not gonna say yes, but I'm not gonna say no. It all
Yeah.
depends. It all depends. Depends on how they get me. If they get me in a good mood, then I'm like, okay, yeah, you can have it. You get me in one of those, no, you ain't getting it. So that's how I am. So,
Yeah, I was a little weak because I was like, okay, we did like both of the gift cards. Then I like convinced her to go to the gym with me. And so she had me buttered up, you know? Like,
well, it's funny when they butter me up. I'm like, what do you want? It's like, how do you know? I'm like, because you don't come to me until you need something. Oh, okay, that's true. So what do you need? Like I already know it's something. So try if you're gonna try to convince me correctly.
I know, you're like, just start with it. You're like,
Just get to the point. I don't need to hear the story. Just get to the point. That's
aw,
how it is. But my God, we actually
great.
been on for over an hour already talking. And I mean, I think we hit some great points between both of us.
For sure. I love how much you shared about your dad's
Oh
story.
yeah.
That's fantastic. And that's the thing, like, you know, not only do you learn lessons from your own dad, but even in becoming a parent, it really opened your eyes up to so many parts of who you are.
It's kind of funny, and I said that to my wife a long time ago. I had some big shoes to fill, not just because of my father, but her dad too.
Oh, that's wonderful to say that.
Because I look at her life and I looked at my life. Like her dad worked a lot of hours too, and but she still made a lot of stuff for them. And that's something I'm trying to make sure I'm there when they need me, just like my dad and her dad. So, that's one thing, it's like she got to remind us like you're not them, you're you. Just be you.
And even with my own husband, like we were talking about the importance of communication in a marriage, he says time is love.
Hmm.
And to be honest, I think that is really the best form of love you can give someone.
Yeah.
I am not, I mean, everybody loves a facial, everybody loves to like go out to dinner, but like somebody being willing to spend an hour, like I am like, thank you so much for even giving me an hour of your
Oh,
time. Like
not a problem.
that is the biggest gift that you
Mhm.
could give people is your time
Yeah.
and your ear and making somebody feel seen and heard. And that to me is even why I podcast because having a platform where you can make somebody feel like their story matters
Hmm.
and that you care about them and their life and what they've learned is super powerful.
It is. It is. And that's what I tell people. Like, I love what I do. I'm not, when I told everybody, it's not a goodbye. It's a see you guys later. I'll be back. And people don't realize like that. Like, but luckily, Unfiltered Studios, like, totally got it, 100% supporting it. When I did it on Instagram, the outpour of some of the New Jersey local celebrities are like right there for me, saying not a
Aw.
problem, love it. You keep up doing the great work, and I got a ton of private messages, and that's something like I said I love to hear. And and what's one thing like when I get a call from one of the PR people, like can I just tell you the clients loved you. They love the way you do your show. The fact that you just don't care. Like I care, but I also why am I going to make it stressful? Why am I going to do this? So tell me, when were you born? Are you married? Why did you divorce? Why am I going to be one of those? Shit, why did you get divorced? Did you cheat on her? Did he cheat on you? Or he or she or whatever, or it. Like, just tell the truth. Who gives a shit? No one's going to judge you here. That's how That's what's the difference, you know, and that's the fun part. I love digging into people a little bit, and people dig into me, and I'll throw the punches back. It's like we could continue fighting all throughout the episode.
Oh
I've
my
had a few. I had a
gosh.
few of those.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. I want to know.
Well, I mean, like I said, like one of the was it Mona? She flipped it on me on one of the shows. Even she asked me right before the election because she came on again right before the election, who are you voting for? And
Ooh.
I said, I'm not going to tell you on camera. You know, I have my beliefs and I have my thing. I'm like, I'm not doing it during the show. I'm not going to speak about it during the show because it's a non-politic show. I
I don't
refuse.
think I had anybody ask me that on air.
Not on air because I refuse to. I tell people if you ask me on air before we started the show, I will cut you off and I will never air the show.
And it's funny because I have friends on both sides.
Hmm.
I am not a political person. And it's
Oh,
probably better not to share that even.
yeah. I mean, I told her after the show.
That's cool.
I said respectfully, I could tell you after the show, but I'm not saying it before. And she goes, "Why?" Because I get aggravated because your opinion is different than my opinions. My views are my views. You have your views. You know, what do you want me to say? So
Yeah.
we could fight about it or we could talk about it. I refuse not to talk about it. It turned into a
It's
fight.
funny because somebody recently asked me, like, have you ever had a guest on that afterwards you're like, maybe I shouldn't have had that conversation, or it went a different direction than you thought, and like maybe you should have like steered it back away from that.
I actually had a guest. Now I found out the truth about now my episode was a total shit lie,
Ooh,
and I'm not going to take down the episode because it's part of my library.
yeah.
But the whole fact that I found out through about seven different people, and it really annoyed the hell out of me. I literally blocked them. I'm like, don't ever contact me again. You're banned from the Sleepy G show.
Oh no.
And that's the first person I ever banned. I welcome everyone back.
Wow.
He's the first one. There's one person banned from the show.
Well, you know what? It's bound to happen. The more people you talk to, somebody's gonna cross a line.
Oh, I mean, people do cross the line. I'll be like, what did you just say? Like, yeah, that's what I thought. I will if someone's on my show, I'll call them out on it. Just like they'll call me out on it. I don't mind. Listen, the banter going back and forth is always a great thing. But if you're gonna bullshit about something, then I'm gonna call you out on it. Because
Yeah, that's the thing. When you go on people's show, you got to be able to self-edit.
mhm. I listen, I've sometimes slipped up a little bit here and there. I've done it, but I didn't care. They call, hey, but you remember when you said, oh, yeah, hey, it's totally true. I wasn't supposed to say it, but I did.
If that person were to like apologize or
No,
admit to being wrong,
nope.
okay, wow.
He is that person. Well, everyone now knows it's a he. Nope, nope, and nope. Because
I had one where I and I'll tell you the subject matter, but somebody got upset with my dad's kind of commentary at the end. I think I've had a
mhm.
couple, but this guy is like a counselor to abusers.
Okay.
He works with people that have abused people, and I think they're under 21 years of age.
Ooh,
And he was saying that if you get therapy and, are rehabilitated before you're 21, you can still turn your life around essentially and like not be a repeat offender or something like that. But look, my dad's worked in a factory his whole life, and from the abusers that he's known, he's never seen that.
yeah, it's
From my
true. I
dad's
mean,
life experience, he's never seen somebody who's been an abuser not be an abuser again.
yeah, my dad was a waiter, so I mean, My
And so
my
my dad called bullshit and he didn't like it and basically said that, your dad is like discounting all the work that I've done. And I was like, but not really. I'm just like, he was kind of saying, like, from his experience, he's never seen that.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, some people can't take the criticism because sometimes they're full of themselves. That's why.
So
And
he was like, if I would have known that your dad was going to discount all of my research, I might not have come on. And I was like, I'm happy to bring you back on. You can have a conversation about it.
oh yeah, I mean, listen,
But he wasn't willing. He was upset. Yeah.
I've had people get upset with me, and I get it.
Yeah.
But if you don't like, but they're like, I want to come back and talk to you about it. All right, that's cool. I'm good with it. Hey,
That's kind of what I thought, like if we have a
so
difference in opinion and you want to revisit that, let's get on an IG live. Let's do a round two.
yeah, I mean, like, I totally get it. I've had people call me out. I'm like, hey, I messed up. It's fine. It's human error.
Yeah.
You
So that
know,
is one thing about podcasting, you kind of got to do your research and you got to be able to self-edit.
you know what? That's why, like, for me, like I said, I have like a mini script that I kind of follow, but then right after that, it goes right out the window. Within like the third or fourth question, you're like, ah, screw it. I'll bring up some points. Like with you, it was different because I listen to your shows, I see what you're all about. And that's why it's like we're just gonna jump into the damn conversation. Like how the hell did you get the name of the podcast? But there we go, we got that, and then we just went in a different direction. And that's totally fine with me.
Yeah, we're podcasters, we're parents, we both loved our dads.
Yeah. So
That's cool.
yeah, and it is, and I'm totally cool with it. And that's why, like I said, I love what I do, and I'm not gonna stop doing what I do. And well, actually, I am for 2 months, but you know, it's just not. It's just to get through some things with the family. Family's first. Mental health is first.
100%. I think we need to normalize that. These podcasters that are like, I have to release one every week. I'm like, I release one every week. Sometimes it's a Monday, sometimes it's a Wednesday, sometimes it's a Friday.
Well, it's funny. I was releasing it every other week. So I was good with that, but until I got so bombarded, I'm like, all right, I'm going back to weekly. But now I'm going, I think I might have to go back to every 2 weeks because I kind of like it. I do maybe 2 or 3 interviews a month instead of 7 or 8 or 10 interviews in 1 month. Like
Yeah, and then you're able to like market it better and like,
I just
yeah.
market, I mean, I market myself. So I mean it don't matter how I market it. I could just say, hey, or just hit the link.
Yeah.
There's some people realized when I wasn't doing the videos, oh, the following a couple like a week ago, and like, hey, you weren't doing your videos. Well, first of all, I was tired. Two, I wasn't feeling good. Three, I just didn't feel like doing a video for once. You know, like why? I go, because I wasn't in the mood.
And I think
There's
that's okay. And, I have a lot of like people that reach out. And sometimes I say, hey, like for me, producing a podcast is like, I have months of content. Like if you have something that you want to share with me, we could pop on IG Live. We
yeah.
could create a Twitter space. We could do a Facebook Live. There's so many other ways in which you can collaborate too. It doesn't even have to be one way.
Yeah, I know. That's what with me. It's like, okay, we'll record it and then we'll release it. I mean, like, I I don't even know when I gotta release it. I have to look at my date books because I literally have to sit down because I have to go through all the episodes I've done. Like, all right, this one needs to go to that one, this one needs to go here, this one. That's what I have to do next. So, but
Yeah.
it's just one of those things that I don't mind doing it. I do it because I love it, and I'm thankful for my family. They're the ones who back me on the podcast at least. You know what I mean? I have their support all through.
That's fantastic. Have you
So,
had your wife on?
not yet.
Not yet. I know.
We're,
I haven't had my husband on either, but I
we're
definitely want to.
I know when we're gonna do it.
Yeah?
I have a feeling when we come back from our trip, that's where I think I want to record just me and her, talk about the
Yeah.
do's and the don'ts of where we're going and what it was like to have two kids and the different times when we were there and then now that we were there now. So can we remember when we were kids and then take it now to the adulthood? Because the last time I went to Disney, I'm not gonna forget, it was right after my pops passed and I was drunk. I remember starting in Canada with the Moose Wicked beer. And yeah, I think I made it to America by Budweiser, I think. I don't remember. I got lost somewhere in Mexico with tequila
Oh my
in the
gosh.
Mayan ruins, I think. If I remember correctly. It was hard to it was hard to recollect. Let's just say that. But the hotel wasn't in Disney, it was outside of Disney, so we had to get somebody sober enough to drive us back to the hotel room to sleep it off.
It's
And
going to be a whole new thing.
yes, now it's a different thing. Different thing now. So we'll see what happens. I'm probably that might be the first show that comes out.
Oh my God, I can't wait.
So, it might be right when we come back. I'll record it and I'll probably release it in like 2 weeks after. And
Yes.
then, just to see the funniness and just kind of see the back and forth between her, like looking at each other like, no, that didn't happen. Or yeah, it did, and I can't remember it. Because I know one thing we said. She goes, I realized Disney has a lot of alcoholic drink menus. I said, there's a reason behind that one already. I can tell you that much. And it's not for the 21-year-olds. It's mostly for the people who are 45 and above or a family with 2 to 3 or 5 kids. So she goes, good point. So we'll see what happens.
That's funny because we just took our kids like last summer to Schlitterbahn. It
Okay.
was like one of these like Texas tourist attraction type things. And I swear to God, like I have never been to an amusement park or like a water park where you can have a koozie down a lazy river. I
Hmm.
mean, there were moms with koozies like in the kiddie pools.
Well, also Texas is a lot different than New Jersey because you got somebody with a pickup truck with 3 rifles right hanging off their roof rack sometimes, or their back seat of the truck.
Yeah, if their 9-year-old is running down the kiddie slide, you're not going to say anything. Just put it
Yeah,
that way.
let's just say the gun laws there are totally different than New Jersey's gun laws. And I'll tell you, there was a movie. Oh my God, Unnecessary Roughness. Because there was a Texas school. He's like, "All right, guys, we're gonna salute handguns and hand grenades in today's halftime show." We're like, Jesus Christ, like seriously? But then again, it's Texas. It is true.
It's
You
wild. I, to be honest, have never heard as many gunshots as I hear here.
because it's legal. But
I mean, it's almost every other day.
I believe it. I believe, and it's not because they're shooting at somebody. They're shooting it for fun. They're shooting beer cans, beer
They're
bottles.
popping them off in the backyard.
They're like, "Oh, sorry, did I hit you? Oh, yeah, you just grazed the shoulder again. Next time, aim a little lower to the bottle, not me." It's like you would think, are you trying to shoot the guy or are you trying to shoot the bottle? You know,
It is a whole different place, I'll
oh,
tell you.
it's a whole new world down there. I know. Listen, my grandfather lived in Louisiana, and that's a whole different bag of tricks. I have family who live in California. It's totally different. And then when everyone comes to Jersey, it's like, damn, man, Jersey. I go, what? What do you say about Jersey now, huh? Because see, I'm like, yeah, okay, we're tougher than you. We get it. You go back to your California sun and and eating your little tuna roll, California rolls over there.
Yeah,
So
that is funny because I moved to California after my first job at the Jerry Springer show. I moved to LA and I don't think I'd ever eaten avocado until, because I grew up in Kentucky
bourbon.
until I moved to
Excuse
California.
me, Kentucky bourbon right here. Yeah, right now.
Exactly.
Evan Williams.
Actually, yeah, when my husband proposed, he proposed at my grandparents' house, right at the dinner table. And my grandfather pulled out the little glasses with the melting wax down the side. He pulled out the bourbon. Yeah, he sure
Yeah,
did.
yep. And I'm a big Tennessee lover, and when I go down there, it's Jack Daniels for me all through the day.
Exactly.
So trust me, I know. So that's pretty cool. I
Well,
proposed
I
my
can't
wife.
wait to hear about that episode with your wife. And yeah, I definitely want to do one with my husband too. I think that is going to be in the cards this year.
Yeah, I think you should because that should be funny as hell. Because
Oh, yeah.
that should be you want to talk about a banter back and forth. There you go. There'll be there's gonna be laughing, there'll be crying, there'll be definitely argumentative, and then there might be divorce papers at the end of the show. You never know.
You never know what you're going to get.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the way I would say it. There was a trip, there was an argument, there was drinks, and then well, we'll talk about what's the rest.
Oh my
So
gosh.
so
Well, I hope
before
you have such a good time.
we end.
I did go to Disney this year with my dad and my sister, and we took all the kids, and it is a lot different at 45 than it was as a kid. I hadn't been since I was a kid, and it was fantastic.
I haven't been there since I was 21 or 22, technically. So I'm gonna see how that goes this time because I'll probably be a little bit more sober. So it's sober in public. Yeah, we'll just do that. But we'll see. But before we take off for the night, where can everyone find you?
Thank you so much. Bettercalldaddy.com or Reena Friedman Watts pretty much across all social.
Yes, and I will have that all highlighted for everybody too. Don't worry.
Thank you.
Arena, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. Definitely love to have you back on. Um,
Yeah.
you know what? Maybe we could do a husband versus wives show
Oh
one day.
my God, yeah.
That would be hilarious.
That would be, and that'll like motivate me to do it too.
You know what? I'm gonna have to ask my wife about that one.
It'll be
Like,
like a double date
but
podcast.
we have to figure out a topic.
Okay.
That's something we have to figure out, and then we have to get together on that one. I think that would be a funny ass show.
That would.
That might lead to a lot of arguments, but it'll be a lot. There might be leading to a lot of drinking too. But we might have to figure that one out.
That
So
could be fun. I'm into it. I'm into it.
that might be a good idea. So guys, stay tuned for that episode. We'll figure that out when that's going to happen, maybe in a few months. But that'll be a show to laugh at. Thank you so much, Serena, for coming on tonight. Better check out her show, Better Call Daddy, and Not in That Way. Just keep an eye. It is a PG rating show, guys.
A
Not
PG daddy.
It's a PG daddy, not the rated R daddy. Well, maybe for the cursing might be something different. So it's not an NC-17 or something like that. At that note, guys, I want to say thank you so much for listening. And like I always end the show, it's nothing but love, peace, and happiness. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.